Few, if any, manga and anime franchises have made an impact on the scale of Akira Toriyama's signature creation, Dragon Ball. This seminal work, centering on the endlessly good-natured and astoundingly powerful Goku, is defined by stories of friendship, sacrifice, and redemption amid a mix of fantasy, sci-fi, and adventure, peppered with exhilarating battles at every turn. Despite finding popularity abroad within a few years of its Japanese debut in the 1980s, the animated adaptation of Dragon Ball suffered a few false starts before finally gaining purchase in the United States, when the action-focused second iteration, Dragon Ball Z, made its way onto Cartoon Network's Toonami Action Block in 1998, helping to introduce a generation of American kids to the world of Japanese animation in a very big way. Being one of those kids myself, it is difficult to describe my wonderment upon discovering this amazing series. In addition to the compelling characters, gripping stories, and breathtaking martial arts action which fire the imagination in new and unexpected ways, Dragon Ball Z also stimulated my well-established love for things monstrous, and that will be our focus today. I'm Tyler Martin, and this is Monsters from the Id. From the very beginning of Dragon Ball, Toriyama presented a vivid world in which beings like talking animals, dinosaurs, and monsters were a part of everyday life, helping and hindering the central characters in their search for the 7 Dragon Balls, which, when gathered in one place, summon the first of today's monsters, the Eternal Dragon. Shenlong, or Shenron, inspires awe in all who behold him. The brightest day will turn black as midnight upon his appearance as he bursts into being once the legendary orbs are assembled. His massive, undulating body and fearsome visage belie an essentially benign nature. Shenron's purpose is to grant any wish within his power to the individual who has called him forth, or rather, whoever manages to make a wish first in his presence. He is frequently keen to offer advice and caution on the wisdom or practicality of a given request before granting it, but is ultimately able to fulfill a wide range of desires, from resurrecting the dead to furnishing a single pair of ladies' underwear. Upon granting a wish, Shenron will vanish and the Dragon Balls will scatter to the furthest reaches of the planet, turning to stone for 1 year, after which time they will regain their mystical qualities and can again be used to summon the Eternal Dragon. Importantly, the dragon's wish-granting abilities cannot exceed the power of its creator, to whose life force the beast is inextricably tied. In Shenron's case, that would be the Guardian of the Earth, a pure-hearted individual from faraway planet Namek, first Kami, then Dende, who is obliged to recreate the Dragon Balls when Kami merges with his counterpart Piccolo, rendering the existing set inert. For as we learn during the unfolding of the saga's rich and complex mythology, in the distant past, the people of Namek, being well versed in the magical arts, had created their own Dragon Balls well before Kami's time. The Namekian Dragon Balls are much larger than the Earth's, and call forth the mighty Porunga, Namek's own eternal dragon. Though differing in appearance from Shenron, Porunga performs the same role, though, being greater in power, he is able to grant 3 wishes as opposed to 1, all broader in scope than the Earth Dragons. Porunga also differs from Shenron in that he clearly favors granting requests made with good intentions as opposed to evil ones, and may refuse a wish if it defies an affected party's will. Being at the very center of the mythos, the Eternal Dragons are arguably the most significant monsters in the Dragon Ball universe. But mighty though they may be, the Eternal Dragons are essentially a known quantity, something that cannot always be said for the Saiyan Great Ape. From the moment we meet him, protagonist Goku is shown to have a monkey-like tail, a nod to the story's inspiration in the classical Chinese novel Journey to the West, with Goku himself being based on Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. While a number of salient plot and character points remain in Toriyama's reinterpretation of this classic story, Sun Wukong was never known to transform, werewolf-like, into a massive rampaging ape under the full moon, as happens when Goku and friends are being held captive by the conniving Emperor Pilaf. In a desperate bid to subdue the frenzied beast, allies Yamcha and Puar cut off the tail, unexpectedly restoring the boy to normal. Upon returning to his original form, he has no memory of having changed. It is suggested that Goku's adoptive grandfather was killed when, as a small child, Goku caught sight of the full moon, morphed into this monstrous form, and flew into an uncontrollable rage. While the tail would grow back, permanent removal of the appendage is shown to prevent further transformation. However, Goku's son Gohan is also born with one, and during his training under the wise sage Piccolo also changes on seeing the full moon. In even greater desperation than Yamcha before him, Piccolo opts to destroy the moon, restoring the youngster to his normal state and removing the tail for good measure. Soon afterward, the villain Vegeta arrives on Earth and explains that Goku is actually a member of an alien race known as the Saiyans, all of whom possess the distinctive tail and thus the ability to transform into a great ape. Goku had been sent as a baby to lay waste to this world while transformed. In the absence of an actual moon, Vegeta uses a special technique to create a ball of energy which mimics lunar light, enabling him to change into a great ape. With his superior training, Vegeta is able to retain his senses even when in this altered state. It looks like the end for Goku until the beast's tail is unexpectedly cut off by the cowardly samurai Yajirobe. Even so, Vegeta is only subdued when Gohan, his tail having regrown, changes again. Though defeated, the transformed boy falls onto his attacker, ending the fight in the hero's favor. But what, one may ask, could be the Saiyans' purpose in destroying the Earth? For that, we must look to today's final monster, undoubtedly the most fearful of them all. It turns out that Saiyans are routinely sent to faraway planets in order to clear them for potential sale. The mastermind behind this despicable operation is the ruthless Frieza. Having conquered the Saiyan race, Frieza uses them as tools in his galactic scheme. This singularly psychotic villain was based on greedy real estate developers who helped drive a period of unprecedented economic growth in Japan by recklessly buying and selling property. Such individuals were widely viewed with disgust, and before long, the bubble burst, sending a shock through the country from which it has yet to fully recover. In Toriyama's own words, "I came up with Frieza around the time of the bubble, and the land shark was the worst person of all. So I made him the #1 land shark in the universe." Feared as an oppressive despot who will stop at nothing in his pursuit of glory and unquestioning obedience, Frieza finds great satisfaction in inflicting as much suffering as possible on those who dare to defy him. He possesses several alternate forms meant to conserve his full strength. In his base form, he is unfathomably powerful. Given the magnitude of both his strength and ego, Frieza prefers to have others do his dirty work for him, commanding a mighty galactic army, with his most valued servants being a group of mercenaries known as the Ginyu Force. But when even these elite warriors prove no match for an enraged Vegeta, Frieza himself is forced to step in during the invasion of the planet Namek. Revealing his various transformations in succession, he relishes toying with his enemies before ruthlessly dispatching them. Things come to a head when he kills Goku's best friend Krillin, triggering the hero's transformation into a Super Saiyan, making the villain's long-held fear of Saiyan retribution a reality. Even with this profound escalation in power, it is only after a long, grueling struggle that Goku is finally able to overcome his opponent. In a last-ditch effort to defeat Goku, Frieza resorts to destroying the planet itself, but Goku manages to escape by availing himself of a left-behind space pod. Still, even this wasn't the end for the universe's most despicable tyrant, as he would go on to become the franchise's most frequently recurring antagonist, a testament to the frightening willpower of a land shark. Looking back on the series has left me with a renewed appreciation for having been alive when Dragon Ball Z helped to open the floodgates of Japanese pop culture in my home country. It truly changed the game, and things haven't been the same since. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more monsters from the id. As always, thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.